Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the studio this evening. And we are going to be painting this fantastic truck. I hope you can see it over there. This beautiful old time truck has seen better days. It's hauled a lot of loads and done a lot of work, and now it's set out front for everybody to enjoy, and it's getting decorated for the holidays. So let's get ready to paint that. I've got it drawn here already. Paper that I've got it drawn on is Fabriano Studio watercolor paper. I got my paints over here. These are, of course, my M Gram paints, and today I think I'm going to be going back to using my King Art paint brushes. Got a couple of people rolling in here. Say hello if you like. I love talking to people. Love talking about different things and seeing what's going on around the world. So give a shout. And Tom is here. Hello and good evening to you, sir. Along with painting this, I've got a couple of updates for you as to things I've been doing recently. Some of the things I've got going on. I'm just going to start by dropping in a little bit of color here. Right, this old wood on the back of this truck back here. Seen better days. It's, like I said, it's hauled a lot of things. It's held a lot of loads in place. Hasn't been taken care of all that well. It's old and gray. Sitting out in the sun a lot, so I'm going to put a little color on that. There we go. Got some old boards back there. We'll do a little bit to decorate those. Liza is here. Hello, Liza. Always good to see you. And while I'm waiting for these boards back here to dry, I gotta figure out. I just thought about this. Kind of got two different colors of green here, so I'm gonna try with a little bit of this Cobalt Green, which is already kind of the color of that truck. Well, not really, but. And I'm going to see what mixing in a little bit of this Paynes Gray will give me. That should mute that down, dull it down. Oh, that's a good old color of gray right there. I like this color, so this is what I'm going to use for the body of the truck. I'll just mix up a big old pool of that right now. Just some Paynes Gray along with Cobalt Green. Liza, you're finally you're getting a handle on, you're coming to terms with the color green. Okay, what was your breakthrough this week? I have to know. I love the color green. I don't have too many problems with it. I love the green though. This is one of my favorite colors. Doesn't always matter what green it is. There's so many good ones. Sidika is here. Welcome to you. It's been a long time since you've been in the studio with me. So welcome back, Susie Moon. Hello. Do tell what you mean. Liza has had her ups and downs. She has a tricky relationship with the color green. It sounds to me as though she's finally coming to terms, finally understanding mixing cold blues and yellows and warm blues and yellows together. Susie, I'm sorry, Liza, tell me if I'm right or wrong. To start forming some greens. All right, I got a little bit of color on the top there. And that's that rust color that I really like so much. It's just, for me, it's a little bit of Maroon Perylene, and it's a little bit of burnt umber. And I think it really makes a wonderful rusty color. Paint right around this door. So I'm doing this, and I should say this gives me a little bit of opportunity to do a little bit of paint by numbers here, right? This is a little bit of cheating. Not a lot of cheating, but a little bit of cheating. Because when I paint all of these automobiles, it always gives me a good opportunity to, paint in the lines. Wherever the fenders meet, wherever the doors meet, wherever there's a hard line, I can make a hard stop. I don't necessarily have to paint to it. So I like doing these. It takes a lot of pressure off to do too much wet in wet. A little bit of wet in wet, but not too much. And I've got some colors that are mixing together here. I want those to mix together. I don't want, you can see them here, blending and blending. I don't want to do too much. You feel more, it's a real breakthrough. Let's see, Liza says, Susie, by mixing a lot of greens from scratch and adding color to the tube green, right, including a hint of red. That's great. Oh, Renee Clark is here. Hello. Liza, you feel much more on top of it. Susie, or Liza, you say, Susie, a fan of darker greens. Darker greens are wonderful. I love a good dark green. Anybody who's just come in, Susie's regaling us with her attempts to come to terms with the color green. She has, in times past, had some challenges with the color, and she's now starting to figure it out. So that's fantastic. It's always good to start to get a handle on a few things. Here's what I talk about where I say this is kind of a little paint by numbers-ish. In here, you'll see the fender well. I get to paint around it right now. Most of the bed of this truck is this wonderful green color. Sorry, Liza. And I can paint it all green. There's almost no rust down there. There might be a little tiny bit of rust here, a little tiny bit of rust here, but almost no rust. But that whole fender well is just totally rusty. Renee, you love Perylene green and green gold. Oh, Renee. Okay, I got to ask now. You said green gold. Do you use Daniel Smith paints? I have on my palette. I use all M-gram paints here. I have Azo Green here, which I believe is the same as green gold. It's really vibrant, super warm, almost gold-ish green. I guess that's why they're calling it green gold, isn't it? Whoa. Sometimes I'm on it. Like Susie, or I'm sorry, Liza's asking Susie. Liza's trying to get all the down low on how people mix their greens now. She's going to be a green mixing maniac all of a sudden. I'm going to go in and paint the hood of this old truck. And I'm going to let the paint do a lot of painting, a lot of mixing anyways for me. I'm just going to drop a little bit of color on here. And like I said, I can do a lot of this just coloring in the lines. It can also help me to move pretty quickly in here. I don't have to feel like I need to get anything done exactly right. And I think I'm going to have a little granulation in here too. Can kind of see some of that. But already you can see how the truck has got some good color on it, some good mixing on it. I like that. It's coming together already. It's always a good thing. I'm not really ignoring. I feel like I'm ignoring everybody. I'm not trying to ignore everybody. I just want to. I know that the more I do this, I'm going to start looking up and looking up and looking up, and I'm going to forget that I'm painting. So I want to get a bit of a head start on this, and then some of this is going to just have to sit and dry for a second or two, and I'll think about what I'm doing, and then I'm really gonna get in and start talking to some people and answering some questions and whatnot if there are questions up there. I hope there's a few questions, and at that time I'm going to share with you what I've been doing, and you can tell me how good or bad it is. Either way, I'm okay with. I'll just tell you now. I went out. I went out. I took a couple of days off of work. I had to take a little bit of a vacation, and I've done some plein air painting. I'm always reluctant to do a little bit of plein air painting because, I typically gather a big crowd, or not a big crowd, but oftentimes, bigger than I want. Let's put a little rust here and there. I think that'll be okay. All right. What do we got here? That's a good stopping point for me. Got a little extra here. Let me take some of that off, and maybe it's a little too much here. Okay, cool. Let's see. Let me see. Oh, Renee used Da Vinci Azo Green, which is PY129, which is what I have. Yep, which is what I have here. Okay, cool. So that's the same across manufacturers for the Azo Green. Let's see, Liza, Dana, Copen, hello. Dana's here. Where's Dana? Did I miss Dana? Dana, hello. Hello, and good question. Dana, Dana asked a question. Dana, hang on, let me scroll up. You asked a question. Hello, Michael. What colors did you mix to get the rust color? Oh, okay, cool. That's a great question. So, do I have anything up here I can show you? I do. I got this. I can do something on the back of this. I think rust, now I'll say not all rust is created equal, right? But I like to mix Maroon Perylene with a little bit of burnt umber, right? And you put those two together. I guess we can do it here, right on the page, right? Pull these in together, and you get this rusty color. It's this warm, rusted color. All right, we'll let this dry, and you'll see what it's going to look like. The red, the Maroon Perylene is going to stay maroon, and the burnt umber is going to be this nice warm brownish, and then in the middle where it meets, you get this, warm reddish rusty color, which I really love. Somebody challenged me a long time ago to paint a rusty door, and it had a lock on it, like a padlock on it, and I looked around to try and find what I could do with rust, and I tried throwing in all these different colors. And when I came across these two together, I looked at it and I went, that looks like a bit of rust right there. So I'll set that down, and we can watch that dry a little bit. Is that the M Gram paints? Yes, these are my M Gram paints. Still using my M Gram paints. Here's the Maroon Perylene, right? Pigment Red 179 and Burnt Umber, Pigment Brown number 7 for the M Gram paints. And you can see, right, parts of this are going to end up warm red. We got some browns coming around the side here. All in all, a wonderful. I love that. I'm going to set that off to the side for just a second, and I'm going to keep going with my truck here. It's a great question, though. And thank you for asking. I kind of mentioned it and just kind of skipped right over it. I think it's been a while since I've painted a lot of rust, so it's probably been 6 or 8 months since I've done much of any rust. So everybody who doesn't follow me normally probably wouldn't have seen that, and those of you who do probably haven't seen me do it in a long time. So, so there it is. Great question. See what else can be green. This radiator. I'll just paint. No, yeah, I want to wait on the radiator. I'm gonna paint this back here. This is a nice rusty little area back here. And if you have some rust, right? If you have some rust with a little bit of raw metal showing, right? Maybe you've got just a touch of kind of steel that you can still see. You can put a little bit of, I would probably use a little bit of turquoise in with that mix and make that look like a little bit of metal in there. Right? I don't know that I would try even to get a silver like metal is. I would totally make it colder and go with a blue color. I think I love that, the turquoise color, regardless of whose manufacturer it is. I really love the turquoise from M. Graham, which is why it's on my palette. And I try to find uses for it. It is my favorite. Liza, Liza always asks me what my favorite colors are. And I don't know, about a month ago or so, she asked what my favorite blue was and came up. Told everybody, I love that turquoise. Let me show you what the turquoise looks like. I'm using a little bigger brush here than I probably need. I've got just a little extra water on here. Let's show you the turquoise because it's a beautiful color. Oh, look at that. I don't know if that looks like the stone or not, but wow, that's a beautiful color. Uh-oh, Susie says, an easy green, use sap green and mix in a yellow. Different yellows can make it different greens. That's true. Sap green is already a mixture of, I don't know what sap green. I don't use sap green. I have it in a your color freak. I have it in a Winsor & Newton kit somewhere. I haven't looked at it. Oh, I gotta say, I was drawing a buffalo yesterday. This is gonna sound funny. And I had my palette open just like I do now. And I went to pick up my little rubber eraser, which is over here above my palette. Bloop, I dropped it. This is one of the perils of using M. Graham paints. I dropped my rubber eraser right on my Phthalo Blue right here. And because my paints are all wet, right? The M. Graham paints, they don't dry fully. They stay a little moist. My eraser, my poor little eraser, has Phthalo Blue all over it. And I couldn't it's a staining color. I couldn't wash it out. Oh, so I had to get rid of my little eraser I had here. I don't know how that fits in with any conversation. I just thought I'd let you know. Um, CDK, I know I should mix colors. I just love buying different colors. I don't think that makes you a weirdo. I think that makes you normal. I'll tell you this. I don't, I mean, I have a lot of paint, but generally speaking, I don't have a lot of, yeah, right. Oh no, the Phthalo Blue. Phthalo Blue gets on everything. CDK, I don't have a lot of different colors. I mean, I've got a moderate amount. But what I'm fascinated with is how different manufacturers can all have a, let's say, ultramarine blue. They all use the same pigment numbers, anyways, and they're all slightly different colors. That's what fascinates me. Now, does anybody else find that fascinating? I have a ton of paint in your chest. I do have a lot of paint. I don't mean to say don't have a lot of paint because I do have a lot of paint. But in my defense, I do paint a lot. Um, but I'm totally fascinated how different manufacturers will have the same paint, same name, same pigment number, and their colors will be slightly different. Not everybody's is like that, but some are. Enough are that makes it interesting or fascinating. And I might be the only one who finds that fascinating. I guess that's okay. But I do think that's pretty fascinating. Even if paint, if you mix, you can get even more colors. You can. How can that be? I don't know how that can be. I don't know how it can be. I just know that it can be. Ooh, look, my rust has dried. Look, that does look like rust. Uh, I think you can kind of see it, right? You could use this as rust, and you could use this as rust. This is has a little, it's not a lot. There's a little bit of like a pinky undertone on this. And it just, when it comes to rust, I think it just gives a little life to that rust. I don't know. I like the mix of those two for rusty things. All right, where am I at? Let's see. I'm almost done with one whole layer here. Renee, you also find it fascinating, and why you have a ton of brands. I don't know. I don't know. One of those things. It's totally fascinating. I mean, I'm Liza. I don't know how many. I don't know how many paints I have. I do have a few. I do have a few, but in my defense, though, not really in my defense. Um, how about this? As a matter of goodwill, maybe that's better. I have in the past, and I might do it again, having seen how bad the art supplies are at my child's school, my son's school. I might take a bunch of the paints that I'm not using and donate them to the school. And brushes. I have been called a brush snob before. And I guess that moniker is not untrue. I have a lot of brushes. I'm very picky about the brushes I use. There are definitely some I like better than others. For a while, I was contacting brush manufacturers and saying, hey, I'd like to test out one of your brushes. Could you send me one of your brushes to test? And to my surprise, many of them did. What are you seeing at your son's school? What kind of paints are they using? They're not using much of anything. They're using like dollar store stuff and not a whole lot of like tempera paints and stuff. Really not what I would consider good art supplies. I'm really a bit disheartened by the stuff they're using. And I would love to get them some more. Like I said, in the past to a different school, I've donated a whole bunch of stuff to them so that they would have more to use and could get some, I don't know, it just inspires some inspiration in the students and whatnot to with some better materials than they had. Frang isn't awful. I have some of those. I've got a box over here that I've got set aside. I do have some prang stuff. I don't think prang is awful. I'll be honest, I don't think prang is wonderful. But I don't hate it. I think it's what I grew up on too. I think lots of people probably have. I'm just dropping in a little neutral tint into here. Maybe it'll darken it up. Maybe it'll give it a little bit of life. I'm looking at the picture here, and it's got a little bit of dark on some of that, and I didn't do any back here. Maybe we'll go back and do it. Let's see. Let's see. Renee, is Da Vinci your favorite brand? Liza, I'm kind of stuck now, though I keep mixing colors but not painting anymore. Well, painting, mixing, you're just mixing and seeing, and it's fun too. Susie's asking, are you recording what you're doing? Let's see. Patty is here. Hello, Patty. I just got done painting a rusty truck, but I really like the wreaths on this one. Don't say that yet. They're still white. I'm glad you got done painting a rusty truck. I love that. One of my best friends was an art teacher 30 years. The school system gave her $15 a year for supplies. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, I know. I hate that teachers have to chip in their own money to get supplies from time to time. It really kind of really makes me angry. I why we can't fund the arts in this country a little bit better than we're doing, I don't understand. I guess I'm not meant to understand. Oh, Renee, you donated. That's fantastic. I don't even know where your children's school was, but thank you for doing that. Thank you for being a supporter of the arts. I don't know. Right? It doesn't take that much to buy some decent materials, and I kind of want to start a GoFundMe to get these kids some better materials or something. See if we could come together to get them some better stuff. I'll figure something out. I'll send my kids to school with a whole basket full of art supplies. They'll name a wing at the school after me. No, they won't ever do that. I do hear that from time to time, a couple of the kids in the class do watch my watercolor channel. So anybody who's out there, I don't want to name you by name. I want to name the school because you'll be mobbed. Everybody will be coming to see you. but I would like to get them a little, a little help in what they're doing there. Okay, it's painted a little bit of shadow back there. Paint a little bit of dark back in this truck. Maybe there can be some blue back up here too. I'm not even pretending whether I'm painting windows here or not. Oh, just blip that right down on top of my green truck. I feel like I'm rambling at this point, just a bit. Somebody tell me something to get me back on track. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to get out for you the stuff I did today and yesterday. So we can all see that. If I can just paint in a little bit of a share here. Right, that comes all the way over here. I'm going to get this interior in here. Then this kind of sepia light brown color. Come around, and then I'm definitely going to change brush sizes. There we go. There's a truck interior. All right. Wait a minute. You gave you gave Lucas paints to the school at White Knights. Wow, that's fantastic. That's wonderful. Those will go a long way. Yeah, Da Vinci's Renee. Da Vinci's your overall favorite, but also love Roman Small. Send any other White Knights. Okay, talk to me, Renee. Talk to me about the White Knights. Because it's a paint I always wanted to try, and I have never tried them, and I'm a little jealous that you've tried them. So, how moist do they stay? How much do they dry up? How well do they re-wet? Do they get chalky on multiple layers? Tell me about them. And while you're doing that, and while I'm going to let this dry, I went out. I shortened my... I made smaller by about half my travel kit, and I drove down to the marina and tried out some Hahnemühle paper. I've never used Hahnemühle paper before. Mold made paper, 100% cotton, 300 pound. It says it's cold pressed, but it's rough. I mean, it's pretty rough. I put some of this paint on pretty thick. I was outside and there was a lot of light, so I couldn't see it. But man, when it dropped out, it dropped out and it left some white marks. And some of the time I kept putting paint on and putting paint on. It's like, holy cow, how do I do this? Anyway, so I went down to the marina and sat down, and this took me about an hour to sit down and do, and some good and some bad with it. This was probably the first plein air painting I've done in a while. Now, I did one a couple weeks ago, and then I did this one, and some challenges. I was directly in the sun with this. Even paper differs as to your point about paint colors. That's true. Papers are way different. Papers are a totally different animal. So it took me a while to draw it. I don't know, 15 minutes to draw this or so. And then I didn't even do that good of a job with that. Or maybe I didn't paint well. This boat has to be lower, right? It's in front. This boat should be a little higher up. They're just a little, there's not enough depth here. I need this boat to be above the hull of this boat and this boat to be back behind that. Look, it's like right, they're like touching right here. I don't know, some of the things, but anyway, it was fun to do. And I got to try out my Hahnemühle paper, and it was crazy. And then the other thing I did was this. If I can find the right spots. I went down to the ocean. We have this big rock here. Whoops! Look, I'm totally off. This is I don't know who makes this. Tumarata, I guess, makes this. And I've used this on different trips. I've taken this with me, so I've got some other paintings back here in the front of it. I sat down and just quickly did this. This was like a 20-minute kind of a painting. This past weekend there was a little surf tournament. The World Surf League was here, and they surfed just off this point. But this is the big rock here in our town, and everybody comes out to take a look at it. So I really like that. It was a little fun to do. It got a little dark here, but part of this was in the shade. This was in the sun. I didn't do this well either. This part is set off apart from this. Apart from this. This was kind of all in the shade, and this was in the sun. It was weird. And then I did this. Woo! Look, you can't even see that. Dana says, how do you know when to use cold pressed paper or hot pressed paper? That's easy. Never use hot pressed paper. I hate hot pressed paper. If you're trying to do something super detailed and you need really fine markings, use hot pressed paper because you can get a true line on there. If you're doing just something fast or fun or easy, or you like texture, use cold pressed paper. You don't have the fine detail because of the texture, so you can't get true straight lines sometimes. This is a tree at a park. I should have taken a picture of the tree. This is an old cypress pine that has fallen down. It's broken and fallen down. And this is the original trunk to it. And instead of cutting it down, the Parks Department just kind of let it go. And so this side over here, there's not much growing on it. And this side over here, it has been in the ground and resprouted again. And so you get all of these things. And you can walk the trail right underneath here. It's about 6 feet tall at its tallest. I just kind of have to duck a little bit when I walk under it. So this was super fun to paint. I kind of like the way it turned out. I think it's pretty good. Let's see, Renee, they are beautiful. They're a lot like Graham. Stay sticky from the honey. They will be glossy in some colors in mass. It's very pigmented, so it needs water. They layer well, super vibrant, re-wet well. They never get chalky. Wow. Okay, I might have to try out some White Knight's paints. So wait a minute. So there are 2 series of White Knight paints too. Renee, are there not? Do you know the 2 series and what the difference are between the 2 series of paints? How about that one? I don't know what they are. I believe I remember that there are 2 different series of White Knight paints, but I don't remember what they are. All right, so let's do this. I said I was gonna get a slightly smaller brush. I'm gonna go in to make some green here. I'm gonna find my friend, Mr. Phthalo Green, which means it's a one-time shot. Either it's gonna work or it's not. And I'm gonna get maybe not the brightest green, but a nice bright green. I want a different green. I want a decidedly different green. That's not the truck, right? And I'm totally fine with having a green that's brighter than it should be. I think it'll work well. Right, and when I say brighter than it should be, right, we know there are pine boughs that are on here, and we all know what color pine boughs are, or roughly what color we all think pine boughs are. And I want this to be brighter than that for two reasons. One is, if I need to go back and put another layer on, I want my bright to be bright. And for another reason is, I think the effect of having a really bright green is quite nice. That's what I wanted to do. I need a little something over here. It's a little darker in a couple of places here. I'm just dropping in, whoa, since I was using Phthalo Green. This is just a little bit of Phthalo Blue in here to stay with my bright, punchy colors. There we go. Renee says they have tube and pen. They are all the same. Okay. Okay. I think I'm going to try some out. I think it'd be cool to try some out. I'm gonna try to get some. Maybe Santa will bring some for me. Yay, Santa! Is that what he meant? No, I thought they have White Knights Leningrad and they have White Knights something else. And I thought they were two different. I don't know. I thought they were not that one was a professional series and something. I thought I vaguely remember seeing that there was some difference between two different series of paints. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm misremembering. It happens more than I would like. But it happens. So I don't know. Oh, so that is it. One's a student range and one's a professional range. So that was it. Okay. So there's White Knights Leningrad and White Knights. What's the other? Do you know the other one? Natalie is here. Hello. Welcome, Natalie. Thanks for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you here. I'm just painting in a little wreath. We're talking paints and whatnot, as is typical. I don't know if you saw it. I just showed everybody what I've been up to out and about town. We were in the spa watching the meteor shower. Oh, man. That actually sounds pretty cool. tonight's tonight or tomorrow night is the peak. One of the two. Either way, it should have been great viewing. Oh, I'm just trying to paint around what I have here as my bow and kind of paint in what I've left vacant. And I want to get a little bit of this dark in a couple of these nooks and crannies here. Ooh, I think that looks pretty good. Oh, was I off? I think I've got everything slightly shifted a little bit. Nice and clear. Meteor's not as thick as predicted. Well, but you got to be out in the spa, so that's good too. Play with it more. Wait, what are we playing with more? Oh, it's paper I use least that I need to. Okay. White Knights has a website about their paints. Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out. I'm definitely gonna have to check that out because I want to see how the White Knights are. Typically, I don't know, I would say like once a year, I treat myself to a few new paints and just to check them out, see how they are. It's been, well, I think it's been a year or so since I've done that. Of course, I haven't been quite as active with my painting fully over the past year as I had been in the past, so it's kind of my own fault, but getting back into it now, so maybe I will do that and try those out. Renee, thank you for the suggestion. I appreciate that. What size brush am I using? This happens to be, it's a great question. I don't have any idea. This is a number 8. You know, brushes are another one of those weird things that, you know, there's no standardization. So, you know, this could be a size 4 for somebody. It could be a size 6 for somebody. It could be a size 12. You know, it's one of those things I wish, you know, they don't have to be perfect about it. I'm gonna show you in a second here. I don't know, everything. Nobody has to be perfect with their sizing, but man, in some instances, it would make it a lot easier to know more about the brushes you're buying or using if they were a little more standardized. Sometimes it's just a little tough to know too much about them. Okay, so I've just put in a little bit of color underneath here. It's not really meant to be a shadow. It's kind of meant to be kind of where the snow isn't. Maybe we'll go and put a little snow on there afterwards. But look, here is do I have another brand? Here's an 8 and here's an 8. Right? I don't want to get water on that. But if you look at now, these aren't exactly meant for the same purpose. So it's not an apples to apples comparison, but this is a lot fatter than that. That's much thinner the whole way down and around. Let's see, I think I have, what's this one? Here's a number 8. Again, different, totally different when you look at it. Fatter and shorter. This is the silver black velvet brush. A fatter brush. I'm trying to make sure that the bristles are all wet. Much fatter and shorter than the King art brush. That might be all I have with a number 8 up there. Uh-oh, what's everybody saying here? Now everybody's saying something. Renee White Knights, the company is Navaskaya Talitra. Yes, my Russian is horrible. What side of the brush are you using? Renee, Paynes Gray, Cobalt Turquoise, and Indian Yellow are must-haves. Wow, those are interesting colors. Indian Yellow and Cobalt Turquoise. All right, is the Cobalt Turquoise granular? I bet it is. There's no standardization makes me nuts. Eliza. Oh, and you have, and Eliza, you have Ultramarine and Rose Opera. Oh, Rose Opera is so pink. It's so pink. All right, let's see. What do I want to do here? I want to do this. Let me get my colors back going here. I want to darken a little bit down here. If I darken this a little bit, I'm going to start doing some touch-up work here. Right, that's going to push that fender forward a bit. Okay. So I'm good with that fender moving forward. A little bit of this dark. I'm going to put a couple of lines here and here. And I'm going to get a little tiny brush. I got a little tiny brush here. And Natalie, you still have the King art brushes on your wish list. I've said it before. I bought them without knowing anything about them, and I am pleasantly surprised. I very much enjoy these brushes. I had no idea what to expect when I got them. Was I going to like them? Was I going to want to send them back? Would there be something else wrong with them? You know, could have been 100 things going on with them, and so what, I've been using them for 2 years now, roughly, going strong. I think they're wonderful brushes. I will say, I went to a Walmart. don't laugh at me for this. Your whole family has access to your wish list. I went to a Walmart for the first time in 10 years, 12 years, something like that. My kids wanted to go to Walmart for Black Friday. Like I said, I hadn't been to a Walmart in forever. And I got there and I went, can I just, they're running around looking at stuff. I'm trying to keep up with them. Can I just go and take a look at some of the art supplies? Sure, Dad. Yeah, no problem. Let's go take a look. See what's over there. And to my surprise, they sell King art at Walmart. Who knew? I certainly didn't. Now, I didn't see any of these brushes there, but who knew? Let's see. Let's see. Renee, it's PB28. It's granulated. It's not as granulated as some brands. PB28. That is your PB28 Cobalt Turquoise. Wait. Cobalt Turquoise. This is PB28. Because my Cobalt Blue is PB28. Oh, interesting. I was totally expecting something else. Not just that. Curious. All right, I'm going to try to give a little definition to my lights here. Right? Oh, look, this, I didn't even see this bumper is all rusty too, isn't it? Well, that's actually pretty good that we'll be doing this in 2. I want that nice hard edge there. I don't want any chance of that running. Oh, I have another question for you all. And I'm asking because I think it's a group decision where, you know, we're all friends who get here and hang out together on a Wednesday night. And so PB28 can range in color. Your Walmart is always ridiculously crowded. That's why I don't go to Walmart. Every Walmart is ridiculously crowded. Plus, the nearest one for me is, I don't know, 30 miles away, 35 miles away. I just don't want to drive that far. There we go. We got a little light action going there. Do you guys mind, and you may or you may not, that's why I'm asking. Do you guys mind at all if I simultaneously stream this Wednesday night live stream here and also on Twitch? And I ask for a good reason, and the reason is that I have done it in the past, and people have not enjoyed it, and they've asked me not to do that, and that's totally fine. Because I don't want to mess up our little community here. I very much enjoy Wednesday evenings, and I don't want to jeopardize that at all. And so I'm asking if that would bother anybody. Do whatever works for me. Well, I mean, right, I appreciate the sentiment, but, you know, I consider this a community, and this would be inviting parts of a different community into what we're doing. And in some respects, I think that takes away from what we do here on Wednesday, and in some respects, I think it could add to it. So that's why I'm just asking, how does it affect the stream? So the way it would affect this stream is So however you see your name in chat, you would have a little parentheses next to it, and it would say YT, or it might all say YouTube there, and there would potentially be as many viewers also in the chat, and they would have a little parentheses next to their name, and it would say Twitch, and then they would have the opportunity to ask questions also. And really, I don't think much more than that. The stream would still go off. I think we talked about it. I'm probably gonna move it to 7. This makes a little bit more sense, but what it would do is it would allow me to kind of get back to my Twitch streaming, which I've kind of gotten away from in a lot of respects. And it would allow me to, quite honestly, get back into the revenue stream over there, which I have yet to be able to get back into here on YouTube. After I was gone for a year, they demonetized my channel, and I have yet to get back to the threshold that I need to gain my remonetization, I guess is the way to say it. More exposure for me, you're right. I couldn't ever get the Twitch chat to work. The more art friends, the better. Okay, so I'm not hearing any big opposition. And quite honestly, I appreciate that. So then I think what I'll do is I'm not going to do anything. I think we'll have one or two more streams this year. I'm not going to change anything this year, including the time, right? For this whole year, we're going to keep the time where we're at, but I think starting next year then I'll do a co-broadcast, and it will be both Twitch and YouTube. And thank you for your understanding with that. And my loyalty really lies more here towards YouTube. So if it gets to be something that you guys on YouTube are not enjoying or don't like, please let me know, and I will drop that portion of it, and I'll figure out a way to do that on its own. And so I just want to say thank you for that. So then we'll see that coming up the beginning of the year then. All right, what do I got to do here? Let's see. We got some chrome. I've mixed up, just like I have a specific thing I like to do for rust, I have a specific thing I like to do for chrome. And it's not, just like the rust color probably isn't the true rust color, my chrome color isn't a true chrome color, but I like to mix turquoise and a little Paynes Gray. I think it gives a nice color. And so that's what I've done here, and I'm just trying to drop in those few bits and pieces of chrome that are on here. Yes, it's much bluer than chrome would or could or should be. But again, I'm not really trying to do a realist painting, right? My paintings are always kind of semi-realist. But I think it's realist enough that everybody notices, oh, that's a piece of metal. And that's really all I want to portray. And I think those colors together do a really good job of that. And if you want a little bit more metal-ish color, then you can drop in just a bit more of the Paynes Gray, and if you want a little bit more of the fun-ish color there, you can drop in a little bit more of that turquoise. But I love the way the turquoise looks, and so I do try to incorporate it in a number of different things. Might be a little too much turquoise there. I think it's about time, as I'm looking at this, I think it's about time to put in some of these, or both of these anyways, red bows. I think once the red bows go on, it's really going to pop off here. That's a cute little truck though, isn't it? I mean, it's not perfect, but I think that's pretty cute. Oh, I need to get the dark here. That's why I went to a smaller brush. Let's get a dark. I seem to get a few hairs on my palette. I don't know where they've come from. There's long hairs about this length. I would say in this painting year, I have a growing appreciation for Paynes Gray. Paynes Gray is a nice color. It's a lovely color. Has anybody used Davies Gray? I have not. Davies Gray is, as I understand it, a warmer gray. Right, Paynes Gray is a little on the blue side. Davies Gray is a little more on the brown side, but I've never used it. Actually, for so much of everything, I mix a lot of my own. If I'm just going to use a gray, I mix a lot of my own. I will, however, add Paynes Gray in, as I mix a lot with Paynes Gray. All right, here we go. I guess the other thing I started doing, this weekend, Davies Gray is very pale. And Natalie, you mix Jane's Gray. What is Jane's Gray? Jane's Gray. How do you mix Jane's Gray? All these grays. I went to school at Ohio State and our colors were scarlet and gray, and I only ever remember one color of gray until I started painting, and then I'm like, oh my lord, there's a million different colors of gray. How can there be so many, and how did I not know about them all? It's a green gray. Jane's Gray is what? Jane's Gray is warmer. It's ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. Okay. Ultramarine and burnt sienna. That would make a good gray. Lots of grays. Ooh, that's a nice pop of color on there. Look at that. Davies Gray. Oh, Davies Gray is greener. Oh. Okay. Ultramarine burnt umber. That's how I like to make gray. Burnt umber. Get a little bit on here. Burnt umber. Ultramarine. Ooh, already it's turning into a nice. Ooh, look at that. That's a nice gray. If you want it a little colder, you leave a little bit more blue, a little warmer, a little more burnt umber. Lovely. I like this one too. Right, alizarin crimson and phthalo. Ooh, look at that gray. Alizarin crimson and phthalo. That makes a nice gray. But you do have to be careful. You can, I don't know if you can see underneath here if I chisel some of this away. You got to be careful because they're both staining. Where I put that alizarin crimson down, look, okay. So these two colors are non-staining. You put them down and they just blend so nicely together. Ultramarine and burnt umber. Beautiful grays. You can make it cooler, you can make it warmer. This one, lovely gray, but you can't mix it on the paper because regardless of which one you put down first, it leaves a mark. You got to mix that one on your palette. You got to mix that one on your palette. Now, the one that I never got to work for me, I always thought should, right? And this is a staining one too. This is phthalo. And then I should be able to put Azo Orange with it. And it kind of makes a brown. A weird green. But in theory, you should be able to do that too. But this is the one I use a lot. Burnt umber, and ultramarine blue. Siddiqa, you're gonna spend the rest of your day, your night mixing colors. I love it. Paynes Gray was made famous by June Blundell. Blundell. I don't know how you say her name. Interesting. So she had her own gray. Well, that's cool. That's actually pretty cool. All right, let's see. Got a little bit of touch up here yet to do. I want this bumper to stand out a little bit, so I'm gonna darken up just behind it a little bit. That should help that stand out ever so slightly. Just push that forward a little bit. I don't know, something like that. What else do I need to do here? Well, I've got a few wheels that need some color on them. And I got some lights that need some lights. Let's give a little bit of color to our lights here first of all. This is Hansa Yellow, really with a little bit of neutral in it, and which should gray it down, and just a little bit of Paynes Gray in there. And I'm going to give it just a little bit of dark mixture down below, just so it kind of looks round. I don't know, something like that. Should probably, yeah, I'm not going to take any color off the top. If I want to put a highlight on there to really make that look round, it's a pretty small. Try burnt orange and that blue. I don't have burnt orange. I don't have burnt orange on my palette, or I would. Someday I'll just pull all of my paints out. I'll pull all my paints out. I'll put them all on the desk and we'll just pull them out and start testing all of the colors. And we'll see how they look. How's that? That would probably be a fun experiment. We'll just sit around and we'll talk about what colors would look good together and what colors won't look good together, and we'll just kind of try them all out for an hour or so and do what we need to do. Oh, I don't want that. I want this brown. Give me this brown under here. That can touch the wheel. That's okay. That's just sepia under there. Right? It's in deep shadow. I'm going to actually put some blue in there too. Some ultramarine. Does anybody use... let me ask this question because this has always bothered me and I don't necessarily like to do it. I do it from time to time, but I don't necessarily like to do it. Does anybody use just ultramarine for shadows? I think every watercolor book I have, I've taken 2 classes or so, a couple of classes, and they've all said, well, you can use ultramarine for shadows and blah, blah, blah. And while I do from time to time, right, like under these wheel wells, there's quite a bit of ultramarine. I do use it from time to time, but I don't typically like to use it as shadows. Does anybody use it? No. Make that happen. Liza, you've been asking for just a time to see all the paints and see them get mixed together for quite a while. So for you, that would be a great thing to do. We'll just have one night where we just mix paint. Oops, I can't do that. I'm gonna do this wheel up here first. No, nobody does. Good. You're all reaffirming my faith in watercolor artists. Right, my view has always been that unless you're going for a specific look, shadows are more or less just a darkening of the color that you already have. And while ultramarine does in some instances help with shadows, it shouldn't be the be-all end-all of the shadow itself. It's always bothered me. And I keep threatening to write a book where I can dispel that. But I haven't done that yet. All right, a couple of tires here. A couple of tires on there. Simple, basic tires. Steel belted tires. And even though this is a work truck, he's got some green on his hubs back here. Back in 19 whatever 50, 60, I don't know what, 50 something. This looks like a 50s kind of a truck. When this was made, they painted the hubs to look like everything else. Got a little rust. Got a little bit of rust in here too. Let's muddy that up a little bit. There we go. We got a little bit of rust back there. You always dull your main color. Ultramarine is too warm for shadows. Susie, interesting. Natalie, I don't, but years ago I had a professional artist friend who used blue for shadows. Yes, they do. Did it bother you, Natalie, that they used just blue in their portraiture? Did you go, why? Renee, you dull it. And so I have to ask, are you dulling it with a complement color? I'm gonna bet the answer is yes. That you are dulling it with a complement. I always forget. When I ask a question, there's about a 30-second delay until you all hear it. And then there's a delay until you answer. And so I always ask a question and I look up like I'm expecting to see the answer, and then I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I gotta wait another minute. And yes, there's the answer. I'm with you. The portrait he did of me is stunning. He was an older gentleman in the World War II era and had no experience, and I had no experience to question him. Oops, I gotta put this over here. Liza, you guys are done. Oh, an artist friend called and asked if you can make a portrait of me and your dog. Oh, that's awesome. I wouldn't say no. Don't some skin tones have a blue undertone? Some skin tones certainly do have some blue undertones. Skin tones are weird. Not because skin is weird necessarily, but because they have such a wide variety to them. Right? Skin tones are all different colors and tones and everything. That was part of my last class, was doing skin tones and trying to figure out graded values of different skin tones. And that was tough. I'll just tell you, it was tough to look at somebody or a picture of somebody. We used, just because it was easier, we used magazine portraits, right? And to look at that and then figure out what the lightest value is and what the darkest value is and make a range in between there, was brutal. Let's see. There's a little hub back here. At this point, I can basically drop on a few last little details. Oh, he's got a license plate over here. I forget all about the license plate. I don't know what state has yellow license plates, but this guy's getting one. It'll just be a nice bright pop of color over there. This nice bright license plate. Everybody will be able to see it. We'll put a the back of his license plate back here. Oh, this guy's coming together real nicely. He's adorable. I like him. I'm going to get this little tiny brush back here. Maybe it's something written along the sides. Oh, you know what we need to do? Right? The bows need a little bit here. A little bit of something. There's a little knot on that bow. Anybody who watched last week knows bows are not my strong suit. I'm not saying necessarily that trucks are my strong suit, but I think if I've only got to put a little bit of detail on a bow to make it look nice, I can probably pull it off as long as I don't do that. Which will still be okay. Just a little too much water there. Just a little bit of something on there. New Mexico, there you go. Oh, New Mexico has red lettering. Okay, here we go. There you go. It is now a New Mexico truck, whether it wanted to be or not. It is. I got another. I'm looking up here. I got a little line right here. Sort of the center of that hood comes up. I don't know that I'm going to do too much more here. I actually think he's looking pretty good. I want to get a little bit on, a blob. Come on. Come on, almost no water. All right. Just wanted to make that stand out a little bit more. I think he's pretty good. I think it's a pretty cute little truck. Thank you. Most of your relatives are from New Mexico. I had no idea. I just thought it would. The reference photo there, it's white, and I'm like, I don't like it. No, I need something else. Let's do this. I'm gonna get out the gouache that I got last week. I'm gonna attempt to just drop in a couple of highlights here, there. Maybe there's one here. Oh, this is so much better than the gouache I used to use. Oh, so much better. I had my old gouache was here, and it was so frustrating to use. And then I went to buy some on Amazon, of course, on Amazon. And I think I said this last week. This is 59 milliliters. It's huge. I don't know how long it's going to take me to go through this. I'm going to have to figure out how to use more and more. But this was $10. The one that was 15 milliliters was $9. And I'm like, well, why would I buy the smaller one? It just doesn't make any sense to me. So I had to buy the bigger one. He's cute. He is cute. Now, so here's my question now. It's not so Christmassy. The Christmas element, the snow, the cold element is a little missing. Should I, in anticipation of this, I'm going to clean a little area here. Should I put a little bit of cerulean or cobalt blue on here to make it look a little colder? I think think I should put, I'm going to say, I don't think it needs it. He's a cute truck. He's kind of sitting there on his own. You have the same, Renee, you have the same tube, 2+ years, barely a dent. If I'm going to use this much on any given, on any given painting, I might be with you after 2 years. It's gonna take forever to get through it. So, right, so look, he's sitting in some snow there, and the area that's green around him is, kind of melted. And so, don't touch it. You're saying, Sudika, you're saying no snow anywhere around it. You're voting for no. Okay, I can get on board with the no. I can go for that. Don't touch that truck. You're so funny. What I am going to try to do is get a little puddle here, a little dark green. We should all pledge to make dents in our painting 2004. I'm gonna attempt. Oh, I'm gonna attempt to just put a few extra darks in a couple places here. Right, a couple places that maybe a little darker. Right, these are pine boughs after all. Lots of roughness to them. But I don't think anything more than that. I just want to leave it. I just had to do a little bit. Okay, leave it the way it is. Okay. I actually think it looks fantastic the way it is. I'm going to sign it, and then we'll do a little reflection here. Done. Okay, so I need to get a different pointer. Leave it the way it is. Okay, so I like, right now I cheated a little bit on the painting, and I probably could have added a little bit of dark in here, and maybe I'll come back and do that, but I don't think it detracts, right? We all know what that fender looks like. We all know what this fender looks like. I like that we've got some darks here to make this bumper pop out and come forward. I like the way that the paint, I need something a little sharper than that. Let me get this. I like the way that the paint and the rust have come together up here. I guess I should have made these shadows even darker. Maybe you can't see the wheels. Maybe flip the values of these colors here. What is your thought for next week's painting, Eliza? Everybody, okay, so while I'm doing some self-reflection here, everybody put something in that they want to see next week. Like I said, I think next week is going to be our last one of the year. I'm going to skip the one between this and next year and our Christmas and New Year's. So if you have any thoughts, put it in there. I don't know yet. I haven't put that much thought into it. I like the headlights. I think that yellow and neutral tint kind of turned out nice, gave it a nice color here. Again, up here, the values I think needed to be swapped. The tires lighter and the shadow darker. I like the general feel of this truck. I like the way that this Cobalt Green has given this truck a bit of texture in it. And I like the way that it captured the whole truck. If you probably didn't notice it, you probably didn't look at it all that closely. You probably can't get a good sense from the reference photo. The whole truck looks like it's bent in a little bit. Right? This thing is a working truck and it's been put to work for a long time. So it looks to me like it's a little bent, and I kind of like that. I think it gives it a lot of character. I think I needed to put this line in here to differentiate the light from the fender. I think that really works. And I'm really kind of happy with the bright green. I said I wanted a bright green. I wanted something super bright, brighter, much brighter than the color of the truck itself. These pine boughs are way brighter than anything you're going to see in nature. But you look at it and it works for you because you know what it is. And it doesn't detract at all. So I'm super happy about this. I think this guy turned out super cute. Let's see. That's a great self-assessment. I'm used to judging myself. I guess maybe I could have used a little bit more blue for shadow underneath here. Would have lifted it up a little bit, or maybe some weeds around the tires. I don't know. Little things like that. Not gonna worry too much about that. A snowy scene, a snowy winter scene, winter berries. What Susie said, snowy evergreen trees. Okay, so some kind of evergreen something. Okay, we'll do something. Maybe a wreath, maybe a tree. Something like that. Super Christmassy. Yeah, I'll find something like that. I'll let you know on Monday. I'll let you know by Monday. I'll post it on the community section here what I've come up with, and we'll go from there. Other than that, I just want to say thank you all for helping to make my Wednesday. I had to think what day it was from. My Wednesday evening so enjoyable. Everybody who stopped by and contributed to the stream, I thank you immensely. This is one of the things I really like to do on my Wednesday nights, is do this watercolor painting with all of you. So again, thank you so much. We'll be back here next Wednesday, 7:30 Pacific, and I look forward to seeing you all then. We'll do some wreath, tree, some kind of pine bough berry thing. I'll figure something out. Until then, everybody take care. Thank you so much. Have a great night.